Welcome back to Oulton Park for race 2 of the 2019 Radical SR1 Cup.
The weather it's been a hot day, so obviously I know the GTs have been out for sort of like an hour and a bit straight, so there's a lot of rubber down now. So there's probably going to be bits of debris and all sorts on the circuit. So it's going to be interesting to see, but hopefully we'll be able to keep pushing and try and make it two from two.
We started 9th, got to 6th, so we'll take that. We're hoping for a turn of pace in this one, maybe find a bit of time.
So we've made some really big setup changes, hoping to come through the field. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, race 2 is going to be difficult, starting from the outside this time, so we'll see how that fares for turn 1. But yeah, hoping to lose less places than I did in turn 1 last race, and see where we go from there.
Race 1 was fantastic, racing in a really tight pack, lots of great competition and jostling for track position, so hopefully we can get more of the same in race 2.
So here's how the grid lines up for race 2 of the weekend. Shane Stoney and Chris Short this time on the front row of the grid, ahead of Julian Lay and James Pinkerton on row 2, Will Hunt and Ross Elliott on row 3, Mark Williams and Nick Sapolsky on row 4, and it's Matt Jones and Andy Wilkins on row number 5. Gavin McAlpine, Mark Tranter, Dean Warrener, David Tagg, Simon Bailey and Paul Clark round out the grid. So the pace car is bringing the field round. Shane Stoney was dominant in qualifying. He was pretty much dominant in race number 1. He starts from pole position in race number 2. What can he do? Can Chris Short, Julian Lay or James Pinkerton do anything about the pace that the Yorkshireman has shown so far this weekend? We are about to find out, because round 2 of the 2019 Radical SR1 Cup is about to go green here at Oulton Park. Chris Short starts from the outside of the front row of the grid. Red lights on, red lights off. It's a good start from Chris Short, who looks as though he's almost got the jump there on Shane Stoney as they head up towards Old Hall Corner for the first time. But it is Shane Stoney who comes through to take up the lead of the race. Chris Short in 2nd position. Nick Sapolsky just running a little bit wide by the look of things down in 5th place. But Chris Short has had to settle for 2nd place and is now down into 3rd place as James Pinkerton squeezes his way through by the look of things. The door was open down at Cascades and there was no second opportunity needed for James Pinkerton, who grabs the place and he's now going to have to defend because he's got Chris Short right behind him as they head along Lakeside and in towards the braking area for Shell Oil's corner for the first time. So Shane Stoney leads, James Pinkerton 2nd, Chris Short there in 3rd place. It's Will Hunt in 4th place, Nick Sapolsky in 5th. So Julian Lay, who started 3rd on the grid, has had a poor start and has dropped down through the order, but they flick their way through Britons for the first time. In fact, there is now Julian Lay. Yeah, his green flashes to his car. He's behind Mark Williams on circuit, so he has had a poor start. He's outside of the top 6 and down in, I'm guessing, something like 7th or maybe even 8th position by the look of things. So that was not a good start at all for the number 44 car, who's trying to gain a place back there. Mark Williams having none of it. So it is still the number 18 car of Mark Williams who hangs on to 7th place, and the car that started 3rd on the grid, Julian Lay, still down in 8th in the early stages of this one. Here comes Shane Stoney, our race leader, trying to scamper away from James Pinkerton in 2nd place, Chris Short in 3rd, Will Hunt, Nick Sapolsky, Ross Elliott, then Mark Williams doing battle with the slow starting Julian Lay, and the top 10 completed by Andy Wilkins and Gavin McAlpine by the look of things. So the car's fanning out side by side this time, and that is a change of position. Julian Lay does get through and gain at least one of the places he lost off the start. So that is Mark Williams now down into 8th position. Julian Lay up into 7th and already starting to build the daylight between the pair of them. So there is over the start-finish line Julian Lay, Mark Williams. And it is indeed, it is Andy Wilkins in 9th place, Gavin McAlpine in 10th, and throwing it up the inside comes Dean Warrener to gain the place over Matt Jones. So place gained there by the grain car of Dean Warrener. He is now up into 11th place. Matt Jones will be down into 12th position. They work their way through Cascades Corner and then start to head down the Lakeside straight, utilising all of the 175 brake horsepower that these nimble little cars have. They only weigh 580 kilograms, and that includes the race driver with all of his race equipment as well. So they are very light cars. Fantastic power to weight ratio, good aerodynamics as well, and the Hankook tyre gives them plenty of grip. It's a great first rung on the Radical Motorsport ladder. So the field of cars flicking their way in towards the braking area at Britons, this time through Andy Wilkins under pressure from Gavin McAlpine, then the grey car of Dean Warrener who bounces over the curbs. The black car of Matt Jones is there shadowing them as well. So 4 cars all busy squabbling away. don't rule out the fact that Mark Tranter, the leading rookie in the field again, might be able to catch up. A wag of the tail from Andy Wilkins there as the back end tries to just break away from him. That puts Gavin McAlpine ever closer to him. Dean Warrener in the grey car, followed by the black machine in the hands of Matt Jones. They are still rooted together in the early stages of this one as they start to head up Clay Hill and will now turn their way in towards the very fast double apex right-hander at Druids, where Dean Warrener sneaks up the inside of Gavin McAlpine that time. McAlpine looking to try and gain the place. He's lost one. Dean Warrener straight through. The door was open. Thank you very much. I'll have the place. And now McAlpine needs to close the door here on Matt Jones, who is looking to try and outbrake him in towards Lodge. It's not going to work though for Matt Jones, but the run up towards the start-finish line could offer an opportunity as they get towards Old Hall Corner this time. Here they come up towards the braking area for the right-hander at Old Hall. Matt Jones is just too far away. He needs to watch his mirrors now as well. He's got the black machine with the green flashes in the hands of Mark Tranter, the newcomer to the series, right behind him. But this is a super little battle for 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and you could argue 13th position in the early stages of this one. They feed their way out of Cascades and onto the Lakeside Straight, where they might just be able to pick up the toe from the car ahead. From there, it's the very fast left-hander at Island Bend before they're then onto the brakes for Shell Oil's Corner once more. But leading the pack, this pack of cars, is still Andy Wilkins, and that car there, Mark Tranter, is at the tail end of the quintet at the moment. Round through Shell Oil's up towards Britain's, which is where the cars will flick left and right and then left again. And as they head round through Britain's, it looks as though from being a quintet, the leading pair of them are just getting away a bit now. Andy Wilkins and the grey car of Dean Warrener have broken away a little bit from Gavin McAlpine. Dean Warrener, who's on a charge here, can he do anything on the run in towards the braking area for Hislop's? Not quite. It's still Andy Wilkins from Dean Warrener, 9th and 10th positions, absolutely together, using all of the circuit that they possibly can, driving the wheels off these little 1340cc Suzuki engined machines. But what a fight the pair of them are having, and if they slow each other up, the rest of the pack behind will soon be back onto them. Quick look up the inside there for Dean Warrener. Didn't work on that occasion for him, so he's still stuck behind Andy Wilkins, the commercial director from Hertfordshire at the moment. Then it's Gavin McAlpine ahead of the all-black car in the hands of the director from Leicestershire, number 77, Matt Jones, as they head over the start-finish line, completing another lap of the 1.692 mile Oulton Park International Circuit. Onto the brakes, in towards Old Hall Corner. There goes the car that's just outside of the top dozen at the moment, the black car in the hands of Matt Jones. They have now got themselves back to being sort of a quintet at least. Mark Tranter at the tail end of that little pack has just fallen away a shade more. As they now head out of Cascades, we flick back towards the battle going on further up through the order, and that is the number 21 car of Will Hunt, who is still pushing as hard as he possibly can to try and stay with Chris Short. Now, Chris Short started this race on the outside of the front row of the grid. He got picked off by James Pinkerton on the first lap, heading down in towards Cascades. There is Pinkerton's car, the orange helmet of the man in second place. There's Chris Short in third place, under pressure from Will Hunt in fourth. It's the yellow car, Nick Sapolsky, by the look of things, who still sits there in fifth place currently. But Will Hunt is pushing very hard in this one. Finished third in the championship last year, finished fifth in the race earlier on this weekend, and is looking to try and see whether he can mount a challenge to the third place that is currently occupied by that car ahead of him, number 11, Chris Short. There goes our race leader, Shane Stoney, pulling away again from James Pinkerton, last year's champion, in second place. Chris Short fighting away with Will Hunt for third and for fourth position. And neither of those two particularly under pressure from the fifth place car, which is still the man from Alderley Edge, very much his local race circuit, off and into the gravel. And that is Andy Wilkins, that's had, by the look of things, a high speed off at Druids Corner, where the tail end of the car has clearly made contact with the barriers, and that is not in a particularly safe position there. It's a daunting fast right-hander up at Druids. Andy's okay by the look of things. The marshals on hand to do their fantastic work and help him out. And I would imagine that car, in the position that it is, may well need a safety car to come out so that the marshals and the officials can get the car out of harm's way for the rest of the race. Race continues in the meantime, still with Will Hunt pushing as hard as he can to try and stick with Chris Short. But for the moment, Chris Short is just starting to edge away that little bit more all of the time. Through Britain's, over Hilltop they will go. Down through the order, Gavin McAlpine has still got his hands very full indeed of Matt Jones. Matt Jones is not giving up his aspirations to try and work his magic and gain the place. And as they now head on to the brakes and head round through Britain's, could this be the opportunity that Matt Jones has been waiting for? He gets a good exit coming out of Britain's, tries to draw himself alongside as they head over Hilltop. He's on the right-hand side of the circuit. That's the inside line for Hislops, but he's just not close enough to Gavin McAlpine. So rather frustratingly, as far as he's concerned, he still has to sit behind the number 17 car. This will be the fight now for 10th and for 11th places. Up Clay Hill in towards the yellow flag zone. There'll be no overtaking because of the problems that have befallen Andy Wilkins and his car round through Druids. And by the look of things, yeah, Gavin McAlpine and Matt Jones sensibly backing off through the yellow flag zone. And as they exit the corner, it looks as though safety car boards are being shown. So indeed, the safety car will come out so we can get the car out of harm's way. And only once it's out of harm's way can we now start to get the race back underway again once more. So safety car back in. Shane Stoney accelerates out of Lodge Corner, and all of that advantage that he'd built up before the safety car has all evaporated in front of his very eyes. He's got to do it all over again. Good restart though from the race leader. Shane Stoney leads over the start-finish line. James Pinkerton closer to him now because of the safety car in second place. Third place is number 11, that's Chris Short. In fourth place, Will Hunt's now under pressure from Nick Sapolsky, who's been able to catch up as a result of that safety car period. And can Sapolsky do anything about the fourth place car? He's not going to this time, at least, as they head out of Cascades Corner and onto the Lakeside Straight. Sapolsky uses all of the curbs, but no more to try and pick up the toe from Will Hunt that lies ahead. But he's not going to be close enough still as they head up towards Island Bend. So it's still Shane Stoney that leads the race. James Pinkerton and Chris Short in second and third places respectively. Will Hunt for the moment just watching his mirrors. Sapolsky there ready to pounce. The yellow car in fourth position as they turn their way out of Shell Oil's Corner and in towards the chicane at Britain's. There go the leading three cars through. There's Will Hunt ahead of Nick Sapolsky, and not too far behind them is then the next of the cars, which is number 52, Ross Elliott. Now Ross Elliott, the engine builder from Peterborough, may well be able to catch up with Nick Sapolsky, because I think for the moment Nick Sapolsky seems to have the quicker car. Will Hunt makes a mistake, outbrakes himself, heading in towards Hislops. All over the grass goes Mark Williams as he looks to try and avoid what's going on ahead of him. Now that has not cost Mark Williams, but it has certainly cost Will Hunt at least one place to Nick Sapolsky, if not possibly two, if Ross Elliott was able to squeeze his way through. Well, there is Nick Sapolsky, and behind him is Will Hunt, so it's just the one place that was lost. Mark Williams didn't lose any places at all. He has still got Julian Lay behind him. Julian had such a poor start, and whilst he's picked up a place or two, he's not really making the progress we would have thought in this particular race. Nick Sapolsky now with his hands rather full of Will Hunt, the car that he's just taken the place away from following Will's mistake down there at the braking area for Hislops. They head over the start-finish line. It looks as though Ross Elliott is beginning to close in as well. Julian Lay now ahead of Mark Williams at the wheel of the number 18 car, the man from Dalkeith in Scotland, losing out there as Julian Lay picks off another place. And I'm sure he will start to pull away ever more, will number 44 Julian Lay, who is currently running still outside of the top 6 places, and he's going to want to try and see what he could do. All the cars ahead of him aren't running in the Fangio class, so he is still now, as a result of getting past Mark Williams, now up to second in the Fangio class. Nick Sapolsky under pressure from Will Hunt, who's looking for the inside line and looks to have unlocked the door, goes through, and Ross Elliott follows him through as well. Now, was that a problem for Nick Sapolsky? We saw him have issues in race number 1. He seemed to slow there, but I think he was just pushed offline by the hard-charging Will Hunt, and Ross Elliott, who was right behind, was able to follow him through as well. So 2 places lost for the man from Alderley Edge, and now Ross Elliott, having gained 1 place, is now looking to try and get himself ahead of Will Hunt. He's on the right line. He's going to have to be very brave on the brakes, but it's too late on the brakes heading in towards the braking area for Hislops. He'll rejoin at Knickerbrook, and has that cost him time? Well, it has. He rejoins just maybe a couple of car lengths further back from Will Hunt on the way out of the corner than he was on the way in. Shane Stoney still leading the race. He's built the advantage again between himself and James Pinkerton, who can do nothing about it and is in second place. Pinkerton took a double win at Oulton Park at the beginning of the 2018 season. Shane Stoney is about to take a double win for the first couple of rounds in the 2019 season. He comes over the start-finish line and claims the win at Oulton Park. It will be James Pinkerton who finishes in second place, and third in the win in the Fangio Cup will go the way of Chris Short, who finishes in third position. Will Hunt will finish in fourth place. It looks as though Ross Elliott is already there in fifth place ahead of Nick Sapolsky in 6th place, and it will be once more a rookie win by the look of things for Mark Tranter, who's had a fantastic weekend here at Oulton Park. Confirmation of the result: Shane Stoney claims the win ahead of James Pinkerton and Chris Short. Will Hunt, Ross Elliott and Nick Sapolsky complete the top 6 ahead of Julian Lay, Mark Williams, Dean Warriner and Gavin McAlpine. Matt Jones was there in 11th place, and Mark Tranter was the leading rookie home in 12th position ahead of David Tagg, Simon Bailey and Paul Clark. So the celebrations and the champagne flies on the podium here at Oulton Park. Let's hear from the drivers.
Brilliant day, really. We managed to get good times in qualifying. Great race 1 and a great race 2 as well. So we managed to just about get survive the start, which was a little bit hectic, really.
But just elated, really. So much fun. It's brilliant to be back in the car. I've forgotten how good it is, to be honest. So yeah, just an incredible weekend. So much fun.
Very happy, very happy with that result. Obviously, I just couldn't catch James on the restart, but to have 2 podiums today and two Fangio wins, just delighted. Really happy.
Couldn't have been much better, really. Two rookie wins and 2 decent place finishes as well. So yeah, I'm really happy. Pretty consistent throughout the weekend, and yeah, hopefully sort of progress and move on up the grid for the rest of the season. But couldn't be happier.
Well, after 2 wins at Oulton Park, Shane Stoney leads the championship on 84 points. The Radical Works team driver Chris Short is second with 70, and it's Will Hunt with 57 who's there in 3rd place, just 3 points ahead of Julian Lay, who's 4th in the championship. In the Fangio Trophy, Chris Short leads by 12 points from Julian Lay, and Mark Williams sits there in 3rd position. That's all from Oulton Park. Join us at Cadwell Park when we're there on the 18th of May.